they took each other's back to protect one another. It had nothing to do with crime. Crime grew later when they fled Italy and came into the United States during World War II. And so there's all kinds of stories. I'm now working on, with a few people, to do the history of the Mafia, like I'm doing with you right now. But the entire history of the Mafia. I'm 77. My mentor, Toto Arello, who was my captain, was about 20, 25 years older than me. If he was alive now, he'd be 100 and whatever. And he had talked to me about when I was young, I would sit with him and we would smooth, talk together. And he would talk about his history of growing up. And I was young, street thug a little bit, associated with the Mafia. I wasn't a made member yet. And he would tell me his stories growing up. Who was his friends he would talk about? Vito Genovese, Lucky Luciano, Al Capone, and on and on and on. I was floored with these stories. I have also talked to historians who talked and did research for years. College graduate, different type of people than me, but they did a lot of investigating about the Mafia going way back. There was 4 or 5 of them. They worked on it for years. They got in touch with me one day and they said, Sammy, we love you, love your stories. We'd like to share some stuff. We did a lot of work. And I said, yeah, of course. I gave them our address and they sent down tons of literature, all the work they've done for 4 or 5 years on it. So now I absorbed that. So I'm putting that together. I'm working with some really, really smart people. And we're going to do the history of the Mafia in a way that nobody's ever heard before, so that everyone who listens to this gets a true understanding of the Mafia. You know, I give you, the Mafia had a very strong relationship with the church in World War II. Italy made a mistake and they went into fascism under, who was the president back then? I forget his name.
Mussolini?
Mussolini, yes. Yeah. Mussolini made a deal with Hitler. They were doing all kinds of things. We did have a lot of relationship with the Jews. We didn't like what they were doing, and we were smuggling them out of Germany, making them look like a little Italian boys and girls, putting them on ships and getting them away. They went to the church, which they were very close, and they told them what they were doing, and they asked for help. The church wouldn't help them. It caused a rift between the Mafia and the church. And they kept smuggling them out, and they came to America. That's how all those big names I just mentioned got back into America, because Mussolini hated the Mafia with a passion, because they would fight against fascism. Years later, Lucky Luciano was in prison. He got 45 years. This is in books and everything. 45 years. He made a deal with the government. He hated fascism. He hated Mussolini. He opened the piers in New York to the government. He opened the piers in Italy so that the United States could invade through those piers, which would be open, no resistance, and get in and fight against an Italian army, Mussolini and Hitler. That's why they didn't bomb the shit out of Italy, because this was done. After the war was over, they released him for his war efforts during the war, how he helped America invade Italy and get rid of fascism. And they let him out of prison way early and said, your only agreement is that you must go back to Sicily and never come back here, but you won't do any more time. And that was all done. There's books, there's history on it and everything. And so knowing all this information that I know, I'm going to share it with the public and show what it was. when the people came here from Italy, there was Mafia mixed in it. And that same thinking they had from Italy, they brought it to the United States, and it went all over the place. But what they really brought in is hard-working, good people. It seemed like every Italian woman was a seamstress. Every Italian guy was a bricklayer or a mason or a carpenter or something. They have an amazing history with the United States, in the United States. Bad one and a great one. We only know about the bad one, the gangster movies, shooting everybody, drinking, going with good-looking women and all that shit. But the real stories of what they were, what they meant, they're part of this country. Just like black people. We hear a lot of bullshit stories when there was racism and it was doing all kinds of weird shit. They were part of America, still are. And they helped build it. Asian people. Our relationship with England was shady for a while. It was great. It was shady. And it got great. It's still great. Hopefully. And it stays that way. But that all should come out in my stories. The truth.
Yeah.
So that people really understand the history of this thing. And I'm working on that project now as well. And maybe in the near future, it'll come out just like my podcast came in.
I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year is going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm gonna tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone. Also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline. I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up. If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you gonna do? What's the choice that you're going to make?